Okay, so Sierra, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Amy. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so Sierra, you have such an inspiring story. So I want to share that with other women listening here. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your diagnosis, your life before cancer. Tell us a story.
Wow, great question. My life before cancer, I'm a social worker. So day in and day out, I work with individuals with different health disparities and rare disease. And before my cancer diagnosis, I was Sierra, the social worker, the person that loved to give to others and hear people's stories and get inspired through their testimony and story, and just a heart for people, and also a heart for healthcare. My concentration was health. So I knew about breast cancer, different types of cancer. I've had family members that, unfortunately have passed from cancer. So I knew of cancer, but I never really, had a personal story as far as with myself or, individuals that were really close until it was the end. So I never got to see an individual, being diagnosed and going through that journey. Was always at stage 4 when it has metastasized. So I always had the worst outlook regarding cancer because of my history with my family. And before my breast cancer diagnosis, I thought I was healthy. I love to work out. I love to strength train. I love boxing. I just loved everything physical activity. I thought, I know 2 years prior to my diagnosis, I was really big on just trying to focus on my health and my body, and not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. So I started going to therapy in 2019 and focused on that. So I thought I was doing amazing. I was like, Sierra, you're doing great. You're going to be the best version of yourself. And then April 2020 happened, where I felt a lump in my right breast, and I wasn't sure because it seemed like it came out of nowhere. Prior to the shutdown, I just saw my gynecologist and did a self exam. Nothing was there. And I feel like monthly I would feel that area, but I wasn't really knowledgeable about self exams until it did get big. And I was just like, wow, there's something there. Is it a cyst? And of course, with the shutdown, it was kind of hard to get in touch with my gynecology office. But I did finally get in, and I said, I have a lump. I just want to see someone. And I did get in the end of May of 2020 to see my gynecologist.
Wow. Okay. So you saw your gynecologist, and like, how old were you when this was all happening?
I was 34.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get in, like, you're advocating for yourself, you get in to see your gynecologist, and then what?
I went to see her, and she felt the lump. And of course, she saw me a couple months prior. And she was like, wow, it's, about 2 centimeters. She's like, yeah, I didn't notice anything different with your nipple or breast then. And she was like, you're young, you're healthy. Those are the key words that I know I hear a lot with,
Yeah.
young survivors. You're young, you're healthy. It's probably just a cyst. But one thing I'm so grateful for is she was like, let me just refer you to our outpatient, so you can get a mammogram, and then also, to just see if it's anything, an ultrasound, just to see if it's, anything. And I'm so grateful for that because I've heard so many stories that have went the other way.
Yeah.
So I did get the referral. She told me that they're only open due to COVID twice a week. So I had to wait an additional about 2 weeks to go in. I did the ultrasound of that particular mass, and it is so interesting. I remember the tech was quiet, and I don't know, I did get nervous, and I made a joke, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're quiet. That must mean it's not good. And she was like, no, it's just, I'm just trying to concentrate. And something in my spirit, just working in healthcare, I just was like, okay. And then I did the mammogram, and then unfortunately, the doctor came in and she was like, we want to do a biopsy. And I was just like, oh my gosh, because I was there alone. This
Yeah.
is during the pandemic. I live 12 hours away from my family. So I was doing it alone. So I was scared. And I asked them, if I could think about it, honestly, because I was planning to go home during Father's Day to visit my family. And I was like, I'll do the biopsy when I get back from Florida. And I could tell she didn't want me to go. She wanted me to get the biopsy then. But I was just like, it was just so much. Just the thought, like, I have faith that I'm okay, but maybe something's wrong. Maybe it is cancer. Maybe, it's not, what I think it is. So I went home and I actually called them and I said, I'm going to stay an additional couple days. And then they were like, well, are you going to come back? And I could hear the urgency. And I was like, something's not right. So I did go back, and one of my friends did assist me to get the biopsy. And I just knew, something wasn't right. And then I did receive a call. I was actually walking because during the shutdown, I started walking in the park to get out and get some physical activity. And I remember I was walking before work and a storm was about to come. So I was on the phone with a coworker. I was like, oh, there's a little tunnel. So I'm going to go under the tunnel until the storm passes. So I was standing in the tunnel and I received a call. It was like 2 minutes to 8 a.m. And it was the nurse from the place where I received the biopsy. And I knew what she was going to say. She's calling me. The office is not even open up yet. And I just knew. And she told me, you have, breast cancer. It's triple negative breast cancer. I did not know the different types of breast cancer. So I asked her, is that the good type of breast cancer? Not knowing what triple negative was, because I just heard negative and you assume that. Yeah. So she told me, and I was standing in the tunnel. It was raining, and I just felt like that was kind of a backdrop of what was going to happen. Like I was going to be in the midst of a storm in a tunnel, not knowing if the sun was going to come out again. And I remember calling my family in the tunnel until the storm passed and telling them, honestly, I didn't really have time to be fearful or just question. I was just like, what do I do? I have this, but I'm going to live. I'm okay, everybody. I don't know what the next step is, but this is what's going on.
Wow. Wow. What a strong visual, and what a tough spot to be standing in, like metaphorically and literally.
Yeah.
So, Sierra, you get this diagnosis, you're young, triple negative. So you start, and during the treatment, you go through chemo, you're kind of running through the gamut there. What was life like when you were in treatment for triple negative breast cancer?
Even before I went through like family planning where I did, to go through egg retrieval and all of that. And that alone caused so much stress on my body with the shots and just the diagnosis. And then going into chemotherapy, since triple negative is more aggressive. So they wanted me to start as soon as possible after, the egg retrieval and everything. And treatment, they tell you're starting and you're like, okay, first you're going to start with the red devil. And you're like, why would you call it red devil of all things? So I had to put a positive spin on that because I do believe, what you speak, you live that, and you have to speak positively into things. So it was hard. You see movies and you don't know what to expect. You see, men and women losing weight, losing hair, throwing up, and just so many things you see on movies and what people experience. So you don't know if you're going to experience. And then you have people from the outside stating, oh, their family member had cancer and this is what they went through and this is what you should do. You should try this and that. And it's just so many things that you have to process. And then you also have to listen to yourself and what you believe as well. So it was hard, not only physically, but mentally. Just the side effects of, I'm so grateful I didn't have nausea or, I didn't have any severe side effects compared to other women. I did have joint pain. I had fatigue. And what helped me is I did have another woman that was a breast cancer survivor. So I was able to, she was a trainer. So I worked out with her. once or twice during my treatment, and it helped because she understood. So there were times after chemo, I was just so tired, and sometimes before my session would start, I would just lay there and just do breathing exercises, and I'm just so grateful for the community that I did not have, because my personality, I like to fight things alone. So this journey, it allowed me to be vulnerable and let people in, because honestly, I would have probably tried to fight this alone because I don't want to be a burden to anybody. But it allowed me to let people in to help me and kind of guide me when the times when I'm so tired, I don't want to take out the trash. So my family and friends would, since it was during the pandemic, they would switch for each round. So I would always have someone here with me, since I live far from everybody. So I want to take out the trash because that's Sierra, and I try to be superwoman, but it's okay to let other people do things. So I had people do things for me when I had the joint pain, when I was just tired and just wanted to take a nap after treatment.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So Sierra, you get through treatment. So you know you have an aggressive form of cancer. You get through treatment. What, like, when you were on the other side of treatment, what was the biggest thing that you were struggling with, like during your recovery?
The biggest thing, like I said, I tried to stay physically active, but I had the opposite where some people may experience weight loss. I had weight gain. I experienced just fatigue. Like I would try to work during the day and just I would just feel so tired by 9 or 10, and I was just like I'm just depleted. The fatigue, and then also weight gain, because when I would go to the doctor's appointments and I would read articles about weight and then the risk of reoccurrence and how important your weight plays and contributes to cancer. So that worried me. It's like I'm exercising, I'm trying to eat right, quote unquote, and I'm seeing my weight increase. And then also, I was on oral chemotherapy, so I had hand and foot syndrome. So it was really hard for me to walk. So I would do strength training, but I didn't do anything extra outside of that because my hands and feet would hurt, like having sunburn on your hands and feet. So I would do the strength training and I would do a little bit of boxing, but then other than that, like I would just be in pain with my hands and feet. So I couldn't even picture myself trying to walk or just trying to get out like I was before the diagnosis. So I think, yeah, the biggest things were the weight gain and fatigue, and then also being in medically induced menopause at the time. My body was going through so much with hot flashes and just trying to manage that. Will my cycle come back? I know I'm still young. What's going on with my body? So my body was just all over the place.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So you mentioned weight gain and low energy. Those are honestly the two most common things that I hear women struggle with after cancer. So tell us a bit more about the weight gain. Like, how much weight did you gain? What was that like?
I looked at my chart, and I noticed that my weight gain, when I started, I gained about 25 to 30 pounds from the start of treatment to the end.
Okay. No, that's okay. That's okay. My editor will just edit it out. It's okay, Sierra.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Let's just start again. So, Sierra, you mentioned weight gain, and low energy. So those are the two most common reasons why women come to me for support. So tell us, let's start with the weight gain. Tell us more about how much weight you gained and what that was like.
Yes, from the start of treatment, I know I slowly began to gain weight, just with all the steroids and everything else contributing to weight gain. And then towards the end of oral chemotherapy, I looked at my visits with the oncologist and the weight. And I noticed that I gained 25 to 30 pounds. And it didn't hit me until I saw that. And I was like, wow, I can't believe, because I had such tunnel vision about just wanting to live. I didn't even recognize that I gained that much weight from the start of treatment to the end of treatment.
Wow. Okay. So now tell us where you are now and what helped you get there?
Honestly, this program, your program, the Cancer Freedom or Cancer Recovery Program, I followed you on social media during my journey, and I just was like, I need to do something. So it was mid-January. I know I spoke with you. I think November of 2021. And then I made the decision January 2022. I didn't want to feel like this because doctors didn't tell me about the post-treatment physical, emotional, like weight that you experience. And they tell you can eat healthy, cut the carbs, and exercise, and that's all you get. You don't get a blueprint guidance on what to do. And I was just so tired, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to take a leap of faith and try this program. And honestly, I didn't think I would be successful. I was just like, before cancer, my weight fluctuated. I wasn't consistent. I wasn't eating a lot. I thought that was the healthy way to do things, stress and everything else. And just to see like weekly with the calls and, being able to have a community that understands. And then when you notice that, you're able to work throughout the day and you're like, hey, I don't need to take a nap, or I'm not so tired that I can't talk to my family and friends. It's just so amazing. Just the little things at first. And then when you're seeing the weight come off, it wasn't so big about the weight. It was just like I felt so heavy. And I
Mhm.
felt, if I continue this route, will the cancer come back? Or, I want to be able to arm myself with everything needed to live a long life as long as I can. And it was just so amazing week by week. I'm just like, I'm eating a lot more. I'm just all this protein. And I'm just like, my weight's coming down. And I'm like in workouts, and I'm having energy and my strength. Like I have more strength now. Like I can do a push up. Like I didn't do push-ups before cancer. I was on my knees doing push-ups, and it's just so amazing. Just the little things like, wow, my clothes fitting differently. Those are all great, but being able to go into your appointment and see your oncologist and them telling you you're doing great, keep doing what you're doing. What you're doing is, eating healthy, a positive mindset, and exercising, and not feeling bad for eating a cookie or a piece of cake. Enjoy this journey because you deserve it. So those are the things that I've gained and learned since January of 2022. I've lost 45 pounds. And like I said, it's not about the weight. It's just, I feel better than I did before I had cancer. And I don't know if it's because my outlook on life is different, but just even setting the intentions weekly with this program, saying, I'm proud of myself. I've never said that. Or
Mm.
saying, going to be the best version of myself, no matter what. There may be weeks I don't lose weight. There may be weeks that, I have other things come up. But at the end of the day, if I can go outside and walk or walk on the treadmill for like 10,000 steps, I didn't do that a year ago. I couldn't even walk 1,000 steps. So it's just amazing. And I just take each day at a time. But it's been an amazing journey. I want to continue it because I know I have more life to live. So.
Wow. Wow. Sierra, like we're almost a year, not quite a year from when you started in the Cancer Freedom Program, and you're down 45 pounds. That's amazing. You
Yes.
must feel so different inside of your body in terms of energy and what you're able to accomplish, like physically.
Yes, I do. Like I said, I'm able to work. I, don't feel that extreme fatigue that I used to feel. And I'm more like one with my body. So I know when I need to eat. I know when I'm not eating enough protein or fats. I'm like, okay, I know what that's about. So I'm learning, how to eat, you know, for to live, not healthy like the good, bad, but just eat to live and enjoy eating and enjoy this journey. So I feel great. Like I
Yeah.
said, just working out, walking, things that I took for granted before my diagnosis, like being able to walk. It's not only physically been like a freedom, or for me, it's been like mentally and emotionally something that I have to do every day because it allows me to decompress and it allows me to just think and just listen to music or listen to a podcast and just, focus on myself and recenter myself and think like, hey, Sierra, you weren't able to do this a year ago and look at you, girl, you're doing it. So and I wouldn't even said that a year ago, and just being confident and just grateful. That's all I
Wow.
could. Grateful.
Wow. So, Sierra, what I often hear from triple negative breast cancer survivors, there's like this kind of cloud that almost hangs over them because they're triple negative. They are not able to take anti-hormonal therapy like the hormone positive counterparts, right? And so, what I'll often hear from triple negative survivors is, like I'm not able to take these drugs as my, insurance policy or my reassurance to prevent my cancer from coming back. And so I'm left just waiting for the cancer to come back. Okay. That's kind of the outlook I'll hear often. So what would you have to say to someone like that? I mean, that's saying like, look, I feel like I'm just a sitting duck here waiting for my cancer to come back because I'm triple negative.
I would say I've been there. I think there are days that I have those same thoughts, like, what if it's coming back, or is it going to come back? And you want that safety net or security to say that, if I take these pills or do this, maybe it won't come back like with other breast cancer types. But I would just say, when those feelings come in, just look how far you've come. Live your life in the moment. I know it's so hard with you have social media and media. You may see someone that passes from breast cancer, or you may see someone where the cancer comes back. But if you focus so much on what could happen, you can't enjoy the moment that you're living right now. And you've already fought through so much. Why would you want to spend so much energy worrying about the next day or the next year? Take it a day at a time. No one's perfect. You're gonna have those feelings. Feel them. That's what therapists, feel your feelings, and
Mm.
then on from that. Do something that you enjoy. If it, takes your mind off, okay, the cloud, if it's gonna come back. And I know just in October, I saw my oncologist and that cloud came back because I was like, is there a clinical trial or any other medications I can take down the pipeline that will help me, feel more confident that it won't come back? And she said to me, she was like, the best thing you can do is exercise, eat, watch your nutrition and a positive mindset. And I needed to hear that because it was like, wow, if a doctor's telling me this, then, I have to be confident in that, and it's not to say if a person takes medicine, it won't come back. So there's always a catch 22 with everything. So just live in the moment, and, you fought through so much, and just enjoy the day that you have, because, we all know that it could easily be taken away. So, you're here for a reason, and just accept that and enjoy that ride that we're on.
Yeah, and that's such great advice your oncologist gave you. And honestly, that's exactly what you're doing, Sierra. Like you have taken your nutrition, your exercise, and you have really used that as your path to reducing your risk of recurrence. Like you've gone after that with some real intention in 2022, and it really shows.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Sierra, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing your story. I know it's difficult to recap a lot of these things that have happened, but you were such an inspiration, and I know that's going to hit home with a lot of women listening.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I do know before cancer, I would have never done something like this, but I just appreciate you and this program, and just saying yes to uncomfortable things is something that I am trying after going through everything. Just being comfortable in the uncomfortable. So thank you
Mm.
for the opportunity.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thanks, Sierra.